Reality recap.
Hi, Evelyn. Yes, I know you have the reunion. Yes, we have 2 more episodes. And then we have the reunion, of course.
I look like the slut. I look like a mom. She was like, you the one that look like you got a high body count hair. I fell the fuck out, y'all.
Candace, has Deborah reached out to you to apologize after the episode aired showing Chris did not flirt with her?
She wouldn't dare. She would get eaten for breakfast.
Oh boy.
No, she's doubling down.
Why would you go meet with Ray J without talking to Princess or letting her know why? Like, she's trying to justify that she told her after the fact and not supposed to make it.
What do you think of your ex-husband Jim coming out and saying you did not try to stop him from suing Shannon and Tamara?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, if his memory is a little foggy about what transpired back then, that's okay. However, he did admit that I had nothing to do with the...
Reality recap. Reality recap.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl V with Reality Recap here for another Tea Talk session. Today we are talking about this past Saturday's episode of Love Marriage Huntsville. Before we get into the episode and my thoughts, let's take care of a little business. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss out on my live Tea Talk sessions where you can comment and interact, as well as my pre-recorded Tea Talks, making sure you have the latest on all the trending reality TV shows. My YouTube channel is Reality Recap 2876. It's coming across the screen. Or follow me, or honestly, do both. Follow me at reality_recap right here on TikTok, on Instagram, and Facebook for all the trending reality, gossip, and news, y'all. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support. Now let's get into this episode. Make sure that you comment and interact when you see this video and let me know your thoughts. Am I spot on? Do you have other thoughts? All opinions are welcome. Just remember, you can't force your opinions on me. All right. Now, with this episode, we pretty much picked up where we left off, a continuation of the previous episode with Maurice and Marcel having their disagreement on Maurice's parenting of Kimmi's oldest son, who there is not biologically Maurice's son, Jalen, where he said that he shows favoritism on Monster or that he doesn't parent them fairly or equally. We start off with that conversation. I just feel like Maurice is very headstrong and he's a lawyer. Don't mean to, stereotype, but he just doesn't seem to get it. It's not getting through to him. And it even sounds like they've had this conversation many times before. Maybe Kimmi spoke to him about it. But some stuff that Marcel said was getting through. But I just feel like Maurice thinks that in his mind, he's not parenting that way. That's not his intention. So he can't seem to hear someone else's thought that that might be the perception you're giving off, even though that's not your intention. So he can hear that maybe, okay, I need to have a conversation with Jalen, but not really grasping that Jalen can maybe feel some favoritism or that he's not loved as much as Monster. Because do I think he's set out to do that? Probably not, or subconsciously doing so and not really aware of it. So it's hard for him to pretty much grasp that. But Marcel, hate to say it, even though he's such a smart ass, he does have points. He does have logical thinking views at times. And this, in my opinion, was one of them. Trish, she then has her photo shoot for her birthday party. I thought the photo shoot was quite whack, if I'm going to be honest. Maybe call me biased, but I was like, she probably should have hired my husband, even though we're in Jersey and they're in Huntsville. But I don't know. Her and Kim was just so stiff. It gave me the same vibes of when they were modeling at Stormy's event, the whole Love event, where they were, dressed real sexy, and they're in the pictures like this. It was really, they just so stiff and awkward. I just feel like, why have those hot bodies if you don't know how to show them off? But she just was really stiff and awkward, in my opinion. And I didn't get the whole 38 special. When I looked up 38 Special, they seemed like a rock band or something like that. But then the theme of her party was Dukes and Boots, where you have to wear Daisy Dukes and boots. And I don't think 38 Special be singing about Daisy Dukes and boots. Just my thoughts. Girl, if you had the party because Beyonce's Cowboy Carter, just say that, girl. Everybody else been having a cowboy theme party over the past couple of months, over a year at this point. So just say that. 38 Special because you're turning 38. It was a reach, girl. But I ain't having no birthday parties, so do what you got to do. Um, After they shot these awkward photos. Ken sits down and he's like, talking to Trish, and she's saying how, she wants 38 to be drama free. She doesn't want to deal with Marquez and what he has going on. And it sounded like to me, y'all let me know your opinion, that Kim was really trying to get an update on the divorce. He's like, yeah, because once this divorce is finalized and behind you, he really won't have anything to say or and can't do nothing. He's in our rear view. Psych. They have children together. I don't get Ken's logic behind that. I get they're older and teenagers, but they're not grown yet. They're not out of the house. So to think that he's just gonna disappear when the divorce is done is delusional thought process, if you ask me. But I felt like he was trying to get an update. Like, where are you in the divorce process? Are you close to finishing? We know that Marquez contested the divorce or didn't sign. He's saying because the paperwork didn't have the children listed on it. If that's what the man's saying, and verify with the court and move forward. Are they doing this? Are they representing themselves? I ain't seen her go to not one lawyer visit yet, consultation. She had the carrier come over for her to sign to have him served. So is she representing herself? Is he representing herself? I don't get what's taking so long. It's not like there's some high profile celebrity case of money's up for grabs and alimony support, all this prenups. I mean, they have children together. She's saying that they were listed. So why can't y'all figure it out and get it done with if that's what you really want? I personally think that Trisha loves the two men fighting over her and that she's not completely closed the chapter with Marquez, whether that's being together or still wanting to be together or just having conversations of closure. She hasn't really done that. So I think she likes this current. You could see it all in her face when Ken and Marquez were getting into it. She's sitting over there. She liked this secretly. You can't tell me otherwise. But yeah, Ken didn't get no update in that conversation, though. We all waiting to understand where they are in this divorce process and what's taking so long. So we'll keep on waiting because I still don't think it's done at this point. Just my thoughts. Oh, did you guys see that Marquez put up this post? I put it on my page. I can bring it up really quickly for you guys. Let me go to my page. I just thought about it. Like, he put up this post and I couldn't tell if it was shade or not. So let me bring it up for y'all and let's discuss it. And you tell me, is it shade? He's apologizing. Marquez is apologizing to Carlos King, but he tags Carlos, and this was posted over the weekend. He tags Carlos and he says, "I wanted to take a moment to apologize and acknowledge my prior actions aimed at you personally. After speaking with you, I can admit that I had an emotional reaction at the time, but since then I've been doing the work, getting counseling, focusing on healing my mental health and family. I'm truly grateful for the conversation we had that night. It stuck with me and helped me start seeing things differently from your perspective. Thank you. And hey, maybe one day you'll let me let me back on the show so I can tell my story the right way this time." I don't know. I couldn't figure out if and it was an apology or not, just because the caption also, he pretty much was saying like, you might want to look at your show from a different perspective and how you portray black families is some like part of one of his captions as well. So I wasn't sure if it was shade or not. Somebody even said in the comments it was a shady apology, but I don't know. But it seems like, from what I gather, Marquez is no longer filming and he is hoping to get back on the show and for things to be, his story told his way instead of his story told through Ken and Trish, who trying to paint him out to be such a terrible father, which I told you guys I don't really believe that. He's moved back to Huntsville. He's seems to be present in the children's lives, picking them up. That's what led to the argument, right? That he was dropping his daughter off. So I would like to see his side of the story and him tell it for himself. But yeah, that was a little shady post over the weekend. Maurice and Marceau sit down with Jalen, and in this conversation, Maurice does apologize um, to Jalen for, him having the perception that Monster was the golden child or favored. He apologizes for that, past tense as well as future tense. Like, so are you going to change your ways? Are you going to be more self-conscious about it? Or are you going to keep on doing it? Why are you apologizing for the future? But is it a little too late? Because Jalen has then announced that he was moving to Colorado for a job he was pursuing. He did say that he didn't get the money that he was hoping in taking this job in Colorado. And right away, Maurice kind of was like, well, you can't expect to take the money right off the bat if you're doing something that you love or chasing your dream. And I was just thinking that was also an opportunity for you to show, let me ask you, you know, how would he have parent Monster in that moment? I think he would have fell to the floor if he realized that Monster was moving to Colorado. Now, Monster is off to college. I saw that posted this weekend, but really posted from Kimmi saying, like, yeah, he's gone. But basically, they had to roll out Ludacris playing. Like, she seemed like she was ready for him to go. I ain't gonna hold you. Like, see you, buddy. Don't even think she went with him to drop him off. I think he's going to Troy College or something, following in Jalen's footsteps, is what she said. She was ready to get him up out of there, if you ask me, just my perception. But I was just wondering, would you have been more supportive or understanding? I don't know. I just don't, even Marcel was looking at him like, damn, bro, you doing it again. We just talked about this. So maybe that's why he had to apologize. Future tense, child. But we then see Martell meet with his mother about his, I call it fiscal plan, his miser plan. He has been talking up Ariane every single episode. That's a huge part of his storyline. And I keep telling y'all, he's just trying to soft launch Ariane coming onto this show. And at this point, if she come in, to let her come so all the girls can eat her alive or try to eat her alive. I just want to see her come on the show at this point. We need a little bit of excitement. We're missing Mel. The show's all right. Viewership is down. Let's bring Ariana on and start some drama, shall we? But his fiscal plan is, he's saying, his investment property is available. The question is, why is your investment property available? No one's renting it or buying it, but he decides, hey, I got this I got this investment property over here. Let me move Ariane in here because I don't want to pay rent where I'm paying rent for myself as well as for her. Now, I can't live with her because my divorce stipulations say can't move nobody in until we're married. Probably something he wanted, to be a hater on on Mel moving forward, because he already done had the kids all around Ariane. We know that. Mel said it in the reunion. So his own stipulations coming to bite him in the butt. And he decides, you know what? I'm gonna cut some corners. Let me move her in my investment property, save on money. And she probably over there watching the show just a grinning. He gonna move me in. He gonna pay for me to go to nursing school. But when you hear him in his confessionals, it's clear he thought his marriage was gonna be forever. He thought he could cheat and get away with it, and Mel was gonna go nowhere. And she did, and now you're just his fallback plans. How dreadful. But yeah, he he plans on moving her in the investment, staying where he's staying, and not paying her no rent. She's on the internet posted, I think yesterday, she posted in her story, the only life for me is being pretty and put up by my man, or something like that she put up. So she's happy as a hog and slop, child. She think this is the best thing ever, being second runner up who won by default. But that's his plan. And you gotta admire a mom's love, right? A mother and son's love, because she's gonna defend Martell to the end. Now she did get a little shady saying, well, Ariane should be happy about this after all she did to get you. She should be happy. I was like, okay, look at her having an opinion. Sounds like she's not too happy with Ariane because, she did talk about her family and how she loved Mel and him together and didn't want them to break up. She talked about that. But then when she asked Martell about his current status or friendship with Marcel after him doing that interview with this strange woman who says she was Marcel's side piece that I don't believe. But she did say, like, what would make you and Ariane do something like that? But then she kind of backed out of it when he was saying, well, he's picking at me and I pick back up. What? Yeah. Well, you had to answer back. I'm like, girl, you gotta love. She gonna ride with Martell to the end. Would you expect anything else from a mother and son love? Probably not. But I was just saying, girl, that interview was wrong. No matter what their beef was, that interview was wrong, and you can't tell me any otherwise. And the woman had no receipts. It was a total shit show, and embarrassing more for Martell, in my opinion, than it was for Tisha and and Marcel. But she riding with her son. She gonna always ride with him, right? Can't be mad at her for that. But then also we get to Trisha's B-Day party, right? And Tisha's making this big deal about Ken being in Trisha's pics. Like, it's her birthday. Why he's in the pic? You can't even have your own birthday. I don't know. She got them drinks in her. And I do agree with Nell, right? Like Tisha get them drinks in her and it's always rah rah. But other than that, she's so classy. And I'm not gonna speak on that. I'm not gonna talk about that. And walking away. But she get them drinks in her and she ready to confront everybody. I wish she brought that energy all the time, if I'm being honest, because a drunk man don't tell no tales. So if that's really how you are, or that's really how you feel, I wish she would say that. But she always want to play it classy and then, let Marceau be the bad guy or do the dirty work or pull back on her reins. She can't be herself all the time. She don't seem to care about it unless she has that liquor in her. But they're at the party. And Maurice and Marceau, they have plans to confront Chris about his whole NDA comment that we've seen in the previous episodes where they're saying he did an interview and they were talking about how Martell should have side chicks sign an NDA, and Chris saying, well, I didn't tell him that, but it sounds like lawyer talk. So maybe something Marceau or Maurice told him to do. And they're upset about that because it's probably true. If you ask me, sounds about right. But Tisha, like I said, she got them drinks in her and she's questioning Trish about the pictures. And Nell comes in and they sit down. And Nell tells Tisha and Kimmi that she feels like they're not transparent all the time. And they instantly get on defense. And Kimmy's like, well, give me some examples of when I haven't been transparent. And Tisha's like, yeah, I feel like I'm very transparent. Now, they seem to, in my opinion, confuse transparency with admitting wrong. And no one's saying that you have to admit, because Kimmi was saying, are you saying that our husbands cheat on us and we aren't being transparent about it? No, that's your gut feeling. Because it's not saying, being transparent that you have to say that they're cheating on you. It's more so being transparent about your feelings of the interview. Because I have to be honest, some things that I thought were going to be discussed this season, number one, with Kimmi, if you want examples, I got some for you. How about you and Maurice discuss this DUI? That was a huge part of the last season. He was acquitted of it. The case was thrown out. Tell us the story behind that. If you want to be transparent, how did he end up locked up for this DUI in the first place? Now you're free to tell us the story that you couldn't tell us because it was a legal matter last season, and we're not touching on that at all. All we touched on was in Maurice's conversation with Monster of people talk, but are they talking about how it was thrown out? Tell us how and why. Let's get into it. Did you have lipstick on your collar in the mugshot or not? Were you at the bar with Kimmi? Was Kimmi the last person you saw? Did y'all split in the parking lot like you said? Let's really talk about it now. with Tisha. Let's talk about Martell's interview. Have you ever seen that woman before? Have you seen her in black? Does she have any merit at all? Let's just talk about your feelings about the interview. No one's saying you have to say that the woman was actually his side chick or he has cheated on you or you need to be just transparent about that. But let that be a part of your storyline instead of you worried about Trisha's pictures at her birthday with Ken. That's all I'm saying. Transparency doesn't necessarily mean that you have to admit that something's actually going on, but let's just talk about the facts as you know it to be. So Nell really couldn't give a lot of examples, but if it was me, I definitely have some examples for her. So Nell just ended up saying, well, maybe I felt like you weren't being transparent about the interview, the interview that Martell did. But there's plenty of transparency examples. The whole thing with Monster vaping. What really happened there? I'm going back sometime, but let's talk about it. How do you really feel about the NDA comment since you questioned Maurice about it, Kimmi? How did you feel about it? Because y'all seem really upset about it. It's giving y'all got a gut feeling. Talk about that gut feeling. Do you really think what we all think? Where there's smoke, there's fire. Just saying. Just a few to name them. But she said, well, maybe I just felt like you weren't being transparent about Martell's interview. And they say, well, Kimmi said, well, I didn't watch the whole interview, so I'm not being transparent because I didn't watch it. Yeah, because you probably did watch it, or why didn't you watch it to discuss it on the show? Because your man was brought up in it as well. That he was tag teaming the girl in the hotel room in Vegas, allegedly. That's what the woman said. So why you didn't watch it? Do you not know that because you didn't watch it? Maybe you should go back and watch all of it. Tisha's saying, well, I didn't address it because it's no truth or validity to it. So why address it? You addressing it because you're on a reality TV show and this girl got up on this man's podcast and tried to embarrass you. That's why you should address it. Maybe. What do you think? So, they just, wiggle their way out of it and saying that they are transparent. If there was anything going on in the marriages, they would talk about it, but there's nothing, there's no receipts, so they have nothing to talk about. Okay. You're going to end up like Destiny off this show in a minute. You ain't got nothing to talk about. You ain't got nothing to be transparent about. You're going to end up in the same boat hoping to get back on here. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. But Maurice and Marceau, they're over in the corner giving Ken some advice about how he's the bad guy in this situation because Trish is technically still married, and if there was a medical emergency or any type of emergency, they're gonna call Marquez, not Ken. And Ken doesn't want to hear it. He's like, "Oh, these two are the last two that should be giving me advice about relationships." Newsflash, Ken, your friend, your close friend, just gave you the same advice in a previous episode. It's a messy situation. There's no movement on the divorce. You did come in technically as a side dude. You give side dude energy, always trying to make Marquez look bad and telling how that's your family when y'all ain't married, engaged, or even discussed next steps. So I guess right message, wrong messenger, but your right messenger, your best friend, gave you the same message. So you might want to take heed. It's a messy situation, and you just keep trying to hang around hoping that everything goes away, and it's just not. They have children together, and until they get their co-parenting dynamic together, it's always going to impact you and your relationship. That's the bottom line and the truth. So they might not be great at their own relationships from time to time, but they're good at telling other people what to do. Meaning Marceau and Maurice. So, they gave you the same news your friend did. Take heed. Nell tells Tish, and we get back to them in the whole transparent conversation. Meanwhile, Chris gets confronted by Maurice and Marceau about his NDA comment. He stuttered a little bit. He like, what I was saying. Some of you said he's lying, that he meant malice intent by what he said in the interview. I truly didn't feel that way. I told you, I felt like he's just saying, well, that's lawyer talk. The lawyer in his life that's closest to him is Maurice. Marcel thinks he's a lawyer, a debater, everything, a Mr. Know-It-All. So it did sound like something they would have said to him. Don't know if they got chicks signing NDAs themselves, but it sounded like some advice they probably would have gave. I probably would have said the same thing in an interview if I was questioned about it. So I didn't see the big deal about it. It's not like he said, yeah, that's what they do with their side chicks. So they probably gave him the same advice. That's not what he said. So Maurice is talking about he's gonna give Chris the benefit of the doubt, but he's watching him, and I'm just like, we watching you. Leave Chris alone. It's not that serious. You giving guilty vibes by even needing to address it. But, after that, Trish, Nell, Kimmi, Tisha, they decide to go over and confront Chris. They said, well, let's go over and talk to Chris about what he had to say. She's all liquored up and saying, well, y'all wasn't transparent about y'all infidelities. Nell and Chris were transparent about it. And whatever happened in Chris and his relation, they already said that she wasn't a side chick. They dated way after that. So what else can we address there? But Tisha gets up and she decides she's going to confront Chris about the NDA comment. And that's where Nell steps in front like, my husband don't report to you. Only woman he report to is me. I like that because ain't no woman stepping to my husband. You got a problem? We'll address it. Same with the men, right? You got a problem with me? Address it with my husband. So Nell steps in and let her know, like, he don't report to you, sis. She's like, nah, you said it. You said it. Putting that hand up. That hand to get you real quick. She putting that hand up and Nell tell her, like, put your hand down. You done got that liquid courage. Keep it cute. So at this point, Nell is really over it. Marceau steps in finally. He seemed to be enjoying the shit show, but he steps in and says, like, hey, babe, I already addressed this with Chris. We'll talk about it later as far as, the outcome of that. We'll talk about it. And she, so Nell says in her confessional, like, she's trying to move past things with Tisha. They keep having little tips through the seasons. And she's saying, like, listen, I've had enough of this with this girl. I don't want to fix it no more. We keep trying to move forward. She's getting, she get that little liquid courage and think she's going to be coming for my husband. And that is where Miss Nell draws the line. Y'all know she don't play about Chris. You know she don't. So this is just a pot boiling that's about to boil over that, we'll continue to watch through the season. But you don't confront nobody's husband. And even Marceau said, I told you sometimes he does have some good points. He says Tisha has a tendency to go up to someone else's husband or, treat someone like a husband. Not saying Chris isn't one. He just ain't her husband. You can't be confronting other people's husbands, child. So he stepped in and kind of simmered down the situation. But Tisha might want to watch that because Miss Nell ain't the one. And I know they be trying to play like, oh, Miss Nell and them, they so much older and they be acting like they think they're everybody's mentor. But Miss Nell look like she can still scrap. She look like she get a little scrappy, if you ask me. But yeah, that was my take on the episode. We'll see more of the party probably next week or this week, this coming Saturday, in a new episode. So yeah, I'm still watching. Season's a little lackluster. I can see why viewership is down, but I'm interested in it because at this point, let's just hard launch Ariane. Let's just hard launch her on the show because she's definitely the center of Martell's storyline. So let's just hard launch her. One more thing I'll say about this episode, we did see Nell's son at the party. He talked about, they gave him congratulations because they were just trying to be nosy about the child that he recently had. And he said, I couldn't talk about it until I knew everything was everything. I took that as he had to get a paternity test to make sure that was actually his child. So maybe that's why he didn't say anything about it. He really needs to have a conversation with Destiny, or maybe not. She's upset about it more so because she's saying she got backlash online for her being a side chick when he had a baby on the way, but she's saying she didn't know and he didn't tell her anything until the news broke. He should just have an honest conversation with her and say, look, I had to make sure this was really my child. Maybe I could have told you in confidence. But at the end of the day, Destiny wasn't his. She was having fun dating, and we're going to see her later in the season with Nell's godson. So why she feels like she's owed all of these conversations, I don't know. Because they weren't in a relationship. So y'all let me know in the comments. Do you feel like he needed to tell her or not? Or come to her defense over some internet trolls when he was in the midst of raising his third child? I don't know. But yeah, again, those are my thoughts on Love and Marriage Huntsville. Make sure you guys are watching. New episode this Saturday. I'll be sure to give you a sneak peek. And again, like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss any of my recaps live where you can interact or pre-record it like this one here. And again, follow me on Instagram, Facebook at reality_recap. On TikTok is reality_recap2, the number 2. So that you get all the trending reality news. All right. Now, before I end my show, as I always say, reality stars are humans too. Let's not forget that. It's your girl V with Reality Recap. Y'all enjoy the rest of your Monday. Peace.